Good morning, everybody. Carmen Sacramento coming at you live from Roseville, California today for here at the High at 9 News. My story dropped originally on the Associated Press, but here we go, High at Niners. My headline reads, New Mexico regulators revoke the licenses of two marijuana grow operations and levies $2 million in fines. New Mexico marijuana regulators on Tuesday revoked the licenses of two grow operations in a rural county for numerous violations and have levied each a $1 million fine. One of the businesses, Native American Agricultural Development Company, is connected to a Navajo businessman whose cannabis farming operations in northwestern New Mexico were raided by federal authorities in 2020. The Navajo
Whoa. What happened, Mandy?
Those operations. A group of Chinese immigrant workers sued Bagnali and his associates and claimed they were lured to northern New Mexico and forced to work long hours illegally trimming marijuana on the Navajo Nation, where growing the plant is illegal. In the notice made public Tuesday by New Mexico's Cannabis Control Division, Native American Agricultural Development was accused of exceeding the state's plant count limits, of not tracking and tracing its inventory, and for creating unsafe conditions. The other business to have its license revoked was Bliss Farm, also located in rural Torrance County, within miles of Bagnali's operation. The state officials said that two businesses east of Albuquerque are not connected in any way. The illicit activity conducted at both of these farms undermines the good work that many cannabis businesses are doing across the state. Clay Bailey, acting superintendent of the New Mexico Regulation and Licensing Department, said in a statement. The excessive amount of illegal cannabis plants and other serious violations demonstrates a blatant disregard for public health and safety and for the law. State regulators cited Bliss Farm for 17 violations. Regulators said evidence of a recent harvest without records entered into the state's track and trace system led to the division to conclude that plants were transferred or sold illicitly. Adam Oakley, an Albuquerque attorney representing the group of investors that own the operation, told the Associated Press in an interview that the company had hoped the state would have first work with it to address some of these issues before revoking the license. They claimed that they did their best to get into compliance, but, quote, fell far below the bar. Also added that they were afraid that this state's action might discourage others from coming into the industry within the New Mexico borders. The company has invested tens of millions of dollars into the operation and will likely have to go to court to reopen the farm, Oakley said. As for Native American Agricultural Development, regulators said there were about 20,000 mature plants on site, which is 4 times more than the number allowed under its current license. Inspectors also found another 20,000 immature plants. The other violations included improper security measures, no chain of custody procedures, and ill-maintained grounds with trash and pests throughout. Compliance officers also saw evidence of a recent harvest, but no plants had been entered into the state's track and trace. The violations were first reported last fall by Searchlight New Mexico, an independent news organization. At the time, Navajo Attorney General Ethel Branch told the nonprofit group that the tribe and the Shiprock area still deserved justice for the harm done previously by the grow operation that had been set up in northwestern New Mexico in earlier years. Now, you guys, it's interesting to me that these operators were given licenses from the jump, which implies that at some point they had to have been in compliance during an inspection process. So it's interesting to me that the lawyer is quoted later on as saying that they did their best to get in compliance. Additionally, this just goes to show you that when you decide to move into a compliant lane of the industry, you're going to be subject to following the rules and the expectations. There will be people checking up on you, and there are people out there that want you to fail. So it's best to follow the rules and document every harvest and every plant and stay within your limits. One of the other things that really just made me sad was that this has a strong tribal connection. So, fellow correspondents, we definitely have a lot to talk about in this article. What do you have to say about this and this revocation of 2 licenses in New Mexico?
I will say that I'll jump right in and say, yes, I agree. Follow the rules. Many of the rules are stupid, but follow them until we can fix them. The second one is there's a super double standard that happens in this industry. I can go to a restaurant that can have rats running through the food, and they get shut down for a period of time until they figure it out and fix it, and then they get to reopen. But a cannabis organization grows too many plants, shuts everything down, loses their license, game over. Like, come on, man. Like, for real?
Mm-hmm. For real, son?
I have questions about the amount of the fine. There was a Supreme Court case, I think 3 or 4 years ago, Sims versus Indiana, where they took a guy's sports car because he had a couple $100 worth of coke in the ashtray, and they applied the Eighth Amendment excessive fines rule to that. And I think that that's something I'd bring up here. $1 million fine makes me think, is this an excessive fine? And I don't view a revocation as a fine. That's a state law matter. But this seems like a lot of money to be fined. And you have an opportunity to be heard about this. Do you really get notice and a chance to go fight against these, or is it just going to be rubber stamped on you?
Very, very, very true.